Hey traders, Raghee here, and in this update, I'm going to walk you through one of my favorite things in the back of Golf Magazine, and maybe you guys have seen it. It's the WITB, What's in the Bag, and they talk to winning golfers and they ask them, hey, what's in your bag? What are the clubs? What brand? Et cetera, et cetera. And I love it. I'm a huge Annika Sorenstam fan, and of course she's a Callaway. We get to see what's in the bag. Well, the equivalent for that for traders is what's on your charts, right? What is on your charts? What charts are you using and what's on your charts? So let's go ahead and do a what's in the bag homage for traders. What's that? What indicators are on my chart? And the timing for this is perfect because we've got the class coming up on Saturday, and the question that I'm getting the most, and if you want to check out last night's webinar where I talk more about multi-asset trading, futures, options on ETFs, options on stocks, and even the underlying stocks and options. Check it out, simplertrading.com/spot-replay. And what you'll see in that, and what you'll see now, are the indicators that I have on my chart. And let me just mention, everything that I'm walking you through, everything that you can see on my chart is included in the upcoming class. But let's talk about what these indicators are, what they do, and how they are multi-time frame friendly, because I use the same indicators on a 1 minute as I do the weekly. The only exceptions to that are specific intraday tools like my hourly price movement range and the clearing range tool. Okay. So, and do I have I have my clearing range tool on there as well. So those are specific to intraday action, intraday timeframes. Everything else can work on any time frame, 1 minute to weekly. So what is on the chart? We'll use the intraday because the class is a day trading class, and even though the daily and the weekly is going to be part of the process, is going to be part of the class, understanding how that gives you an edge that most day traders are just completely unaware of. Off that daily, we'll get into it. All right, so you're looking at a 5-minute chart. Now, whether you use a 5, a 2, a 1, it doesn't matter. The time frame is less important. But a short-term intraday time frame is how I will trade the first 2 hours of the day. So this whole approach is geared toward understanding what's happening between 9:30 and 11:30, and before 9:30, getting an idea of what the daily and even occasionally the weekly is saying about the path of least resistance in the market. So what's on the screen? Well, we'll start at the very top. On the very top, I call these flags. These labels, I call them flags. I'm a surfer. If you go to the beach, you'll have different flags warning you of conditions. That's what that kind of reminds me of, those old surf flags at the beach. So I've got the range of the clearing. I've got the triggers for the clearing range breach, and we even have a risk factor built in to this clearing range tool. All right. And that is this highlighted section right in here, as well as the retracement zone for a particular type of setup. Now let me mention something here. Today we had 2 FOMC speakers, one at 9:30 right with the bell, and one at 11 as the European markets are winding down and the volatility and volume contracts in the US. Really lousy timing and really important events because this market is still kind of concerned about how the subsequent FOMC members are going to sort of back Powell's message, back his play from last Wednesday. So tricky market, no doubt range bound, and primarily for me still bullish, especially when it comes to the S&P and the NASDAQ specifically. Okay, I'm not looking to short. So I've got this range tool here. The first warning, this was within the first 30 minutes. The first warning was this range. This is such an important measurement. That first warning was how narrow the range was. All right, so the other tool that I have on here, and this is probably not as important to my day trading, but I do keep it on there, is the Propulsion tool. Okay, it's the second one on this list here. And these are these dots that will basically overlay with the 13, the 21, the 8 exponential, and the 200 exponential would be. But Propulsion is a self-correcting moving average. It takes into account crosses, and if the market is not in an environment where moving averages are going to offer a high probability support or resistance level, they disappear. There's a specific way we use them, but they automate, and really I consider them a sort of a smart exponential moving average. So then moving further through the chart, we get to the Darvish signals. The Darvish signals are built off my original Darvish that we have made free for many years. But now we're sort of front running the signal with this pattern and this arrow. And what we're talking about is using minor highs and minor lows and a particular candle count to understand where the inflection points in the market are. So yes, the Darvish lines themselves are still visible, but these arrows give us another look at where the market could have different turning points, move higher, move lower, etc. Okay, none of these really should be standalone. We stack them, right? That's a lot of what the class on Saturday is going to be all about. In the spot replay, when I walk you through, I talk about the stacking of volatility tools, price tools, and volume tools again and again and again. All right, so next is the V-score, and this is an updated V-score. It has the signal. So let's head on over to the NASDAQ for a moment and take a look at this. So the V-score is a standard deviation study of the volume weighted average price. And what we've done is we've added signals to where I want a specific V-score to communicate to you, the trader, where there is potentially a buy or a short, where there is support or resistance. And so that is the V-score signals. Now, I will say, if you have purchased the V-score, or I should say the VWAP Max toolkit before, go into your resources right now, pause this video, go into your resources right now, and you will see that the updated version is there. I'm always appreciative of traders and members who, trust me with their time and their money. And if we have an update to a tool that I've sold before, we go back and retroactively, say, hey, there's a better version, and we include it for you. We've done that with the V-score bands, and now we're doing it with the V-score signal. So if you've bought that indicator package from Simpler, you'll notice in that download area where your indicators are, the new version is there. Same goes for those of you that have taken my submarket sonar class, and those of you that took my day trading class, the ultimate day trading class from last year. Okay, go back into the resources of that class you purchased, and you'll see the updates are there for the V-score signals, Okay. All right, moving on to, and by the way, the V profile is part of that package. That tool is on my screen, and what that shows is value area high, point of control, and value area low. Anchored VWAPs, those are these cyan lines cutting across the screen, really important. Think of it as a volume-based moving average. Really important, very powerful. And, anchored VWAPs are not anything that I created, neither are the V profile, but what for me I like and what I wanted to include in these tools, V-score is something I created back in 2008. So that's a tool that I created for myself to understand the Z-score of an indicator, of a in this case, the VWAP, right? I just pulled a Z-score on that so we can study the standard deviation. But the reason I threw the V profile and the anchored VWAPs in there, they are also volume tools, but I like them anchored. I do not want to use the rolling variety. So for example, with the VWAPs, these are anchored to 3 specific times of day. So I like anchored volume tools. Same goes for my V-score. There's a date and a time that I anchor this thing. And it makes a huge difference because you're studying a certain segment of participation. The volume flags are something new, really basic, but this is something new right down in here. I want to know, I don't want a volume histogram. I don't think those are actually helpful at all. The volume that sits at the bottom of the screen. I don't want any of that. What I want to know is I want to be able to look back a certain number of bars or a certain number of days. And this works on both the intraday and end of day time frame. Most of my indicators do, right? I'll give you both the versions. And I want to know over the last 30 days or over the last X bars, what's been the typical average and where are we within that average? What percentage of volume? Is it a low volume day, high volume day, but not compared to yesterday, but compared to a very specific look back. And that's what the volume flags, these are brand new, do for us. JT multi-trend, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with me saying double green. My gosh, how many times a day do I say it? I don't know, but I should count one day. But those are the color-coded rows at the bottom of my screen. That this is probably one of the most important indicators that I've ever put on my chart, because it gives you an understanding of the structure of the market. Trending, non-trending. Hugely important. We've got the clearing range tool that I talked about earlier in Charts and Coffee and other places, monitoring the high-low, monitoring when we have a breach and the zone that I'd like to buy in. So all of that is automated. And this version, this class that I'm doing on Saturday, the cool thing is that overall, I've never had so much automation to be able to offer you in order to make decisions where you don't have to memorize a pattern or train your eyes to a very specific subtle move in the market. The arrows and the colors are going to do most of the heavy lifting for you. And then that takes us to the HPMRs, which is something that I created years ago in the Forex market when I was trading the Forex markets using the data from a company called AutoChartist. They had the hourly price movement ranges of different markets, and then I created a calculation to basically forecast, kind of a volatility forecast of the highs and lows based on time and volatility, and I call them hourly price movement ranges because, quite frankly, that's what they are. So this is something that I created back in the Forex days around 2012, 13. I can't even remember anymore, but we've been doing them for about 7 or 8 years now, ever since AutoChart has had what they call power stats, and we had the data to fuel, to calculate, to create these, again, time and volatility zones. By the way, all right, all of this is what's in my bag, so to speak. This is what I use day in and day out. Every one of these tools is included with my class this Saturday. So check out the replay. You can see I put them to use. The class is at 1 p.m. And again, I just want to make sure everybody understands the HPMRs have to be updated, so you will get the current calculation with the class. It'll take you through the class. It'll take you through the live trading, but it's not something that will be set at that volatility forever. Eventually it does need to be updated, but you will have the current calculation that I will be using in the class and in live trading and for the foreseeable future until volatility expands. It could be in August. It could be at the end of this month. I mean, we don't know, right? Of course, it's volatility, but you will have the current HPMRs that I'm using right now. That is it, okay? I will see you all hopefully in the class. Hopefully the webinar is something that really gets you thinking more about how you're day trading, how you're confirming things. Again, all these indicators are included, but again, HPMRs will be, a temporary setting that will need to be updated sometime in the future. I don't know how we're going to support that. Right now, I do give the HPMRs included with the futures room and with my sector secrets mastery. So those folks are already getting it. So if you're in either one of those rooms, you can go into the room drive and download the current version. That's how we've been, kind of sharing them so far. But as we expand the number of symbols, we'll see how we're going to handle supporting that. Anyways, thank you for the time. Sorry for the long video, but I get this question a lot. This is what's in the bag, okay? I'll see you in the next update. Hey traders, Raghee from Simpler Trading. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like and a comment below. And remember, subscribe and click the bell icon so you'll get notified of the next update. And when you're ready to join me for live trading, be sure to head on over to simplertrading.com. I'll see you in the next update.